Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, it is still morning. Well, it's Groundhog Day, isn't it? But we need to stop the rot, and that's what I'm going to say right for the start. I know that we all want to put pressure on the Celtic PLC, but right now, when you look at the league table, there's one side in Glasgow that are getting off with absolute murder. There's been a murder. When you look at the SPFL table and we look at the state that another team is in and the position that they are in the league, if Celtic were in 7th position in the league, the media would be going for the kill for the manager. The fans would be going for the kill for the manager. Everything would be focused on the team in 7th place. But it's not. The focus is on Celtic. Riding high at the top of the table. Yes, we've dropped 2 points this season. Yes, we've played 4, we've won 3. We're sitting on a goal difference of +6. We're top of the table going into the international break. Yes, we are not in the Champions League. Yes, we're in the Europa. Yes, the transfer system was a complete friggin' collapse. Everyone in their horse now is out and it's free game. Celtic are free game. We have let the media, and this was always a worry. It was always a worry when you go in and you openly attack the Celtic board, and rightly so. I am not saying step back, but we have given them an open book. We have given the media free rein to just hammer Celtic. Every opportunity. And it's not stopped. We're sitting here on Saturday morning. The transfer window closed last Monday. And the negativity when you go online, and the negativity and the pressure, not only on the board, not only, you could even say the manager, because of his inability to get us into the Champions League, but the pressure now on the players, the pressure on the brand new players that have came into the club. The pressure is now in DEFCON fucking 10 mode. It's off the scale. We need to take control of the narrative of the media. And yes, Dyson Maeda's revelation yesterday that he wanted to go, and he's no choice to stay at Celtic. Celtic said, look, you're here, we can't let you go. We get over the shock of it, we move on, we get focused, because Brendan Rodgers will be back in front of the media next Friday. The players will all come back around about Tuesday, Wednesday. Get ready for the game this weekend. The mindset of the players now is the worry for me because of the negativity. Yes, I want the pressure to be kept on the board. But I did say that one of the easiest ways to do it would be by not buying merchandise. You know, and I'm taking away from nothing what is going on. I'm fully supportive of everything that's going on with the pressure on the board to come out and speak. But we need to be very, very careful in what we wish for in life. Because if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, the only thing that it impacts is the team. And we know this after the failed attempt to 10 in a row. The pressure was on the board. You know, it was on the board then, but it's the team that collapses. And this is my fear. This is my fear. Sell the Japanese players and replace them with Scottish. Ha! Since T1. Well, we can't. The window's closed. We forget about the transfer window. Although the media will not let it go. This will carry on right through till Friday. And the media smell blood. This is my point. The media can smell blood, and they'll do anything in their power, the Scottish media, to try and derail Celtic, to try and get their beloved Sevco Rangers back into a title race. But they're sitting, and we've had a week's worth. A week. 5 days. We've had 5 days worth of pure anti-Celtic media. By no fault but our own. But by the ability, the inability of the board to get things done. And I get that. But we need to stop the rot. We need to stop the rot before it starts affecting the players. And if it does start affecting the players, the pointer will then start going to Brendan Rodgers. And then you all know what happens then. It's as simple as... It doesn't take a genius. But as you're talking crap today, hail. How am I talking crap, mate? I'm going to explain to it. A better conversation than talking crap brings nothing to the agenda, mate. And I've never even seen you comment before. Let me just see. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love the chat. Yep, first comment on the channel. Oh, I'm not in a mood for this. I've got far too hungover today. Far too hungover for... I'm not even going to acknowledge the chat now. Every podcast on the Fabulous Weeks has been sticking the boot in at Celtic. What do you expect? I don't expect anything less. But it's just a word of warning. Surely it's the board time to step up and release a statement. Well, we're not Statement FC, aren't we? Support the team, don't buy merchandise, simples. And that's the last comment that I'm going to read, and that's the last comment that I'm going to put up this morning. It's the same picture as COVID year. You're bang on. It is, Stephen. It is. And all I'm saying is, you know, I mean, I went out. I didn't even go out last night. We sat up till young time in the morning and had a few beers, talking about loads of different stuff. Me and my brother. But then when you look at it, when you survey the damage of the battlefield, because this is now a battlefield, and you've got the media that are hounding Celtic, and they'll keep this going until Rangers turn good again. It's as simple as that. They'll keep this going as long as it can. But anyway, support the team, do not buy any merchandise. That's a simple question. That's a simple... Yeah, let's just... how's that going to make the board walk? Because when it has an impact... When it has an impact on the bottom line as a PLC, boycotting games and has a direct impact on players. COVID season is testament to that. Not buying merchandise has an effect on the bottom line. The bottom line in businesses, we've got to make profit. If the bottom line says your profitability of the club has just shrunk by 30 million because fans are not buying merchandise, the powers that be want heads to roll. It's as simple as that. And that's why not buying merchandise is a more immediate reaction and a way to impact Celtic. End of. It's as simple as that. It's who still buys papers or subs to their sites? Fucking half the Celtic fans, mate. Half the Celtic fans. We'd walk to Celtic Park to play for the tick. Forget the Hun media, they will chill everything, keep the faith. This is self-inflicted, like it was handed to them in the first title win. Blame the board, the managers. Just be told, all three are to blame. Yeah, they are that. The board seemed cheap, maybe vindictive enough to take a loss in the merchant sales, and further cheapen the squad. Yeah, that then comes into the narrative of managed decline. And then they get another manager in, they've got the cheap squad, they get a wee bump. Anyway, Chris Sutton has had his say about Johnny Kenny. And he says, Shin Yamada comes off the Ibrox while Johnny Kenny isn't in the squad, but roles are reversed days later. Saying that, look, Johnny Kenny wasn't in the Europa squad. Everybody knew that Johnny Kenny, there was a high possibility. The way that the cards ended up falling, the way that the dominoes ended up falling at Celtic Park was Johnny Kenny was going out on loan. And we all expected Johnny Kenny to go out on loan because Shin Yamada was brought in, and Adam Ida was was basically your number one striker until another striker was brought in. So it was going to be another striker, Adam Idah and Shin Yamada. It gives you 3 different types of striking options. Now, Chris Sutton should know this. And for him to come out and says that, we feel sorry for Shin Yamada, but Johnny Kenny is now the replacement for Adam Idah. It was always a long-term plan. Shin Yamada is not the same type of striker as Johnny Kenny or Adam Idah. Completely different. Having similar strikers in a squad, it doesn't make sense for a football manager. Do you know? Shin Yamada, Daisen Maeda are similar type strikers, whether you like it or not. You know, the way that they play, they're similar type strikers. Having Johnny Kenny gives you that option in the squad. It was a simple change in the squad. I mean, Johnny Kenny didn't know if he was going out on loan, didn't know where he was going out on loan. He thought he was maybe going down to Bolton on loan, who placed a £500,000 price on his head to try and buy the player, but it didn't happen. So for me, do you know, I mean, Chris Sutton says, I don't think he's a world beater, but he shows signs that he could have been useful. He's now been caught in the crossfire. He also questioned the rationale behind Simpson Puzzi's signing and the fact that he's not got to sit him. And I don't get that one either. I don't know why Simpson Puzzi was brought to Celtic. I don't know who sanctioned the Simpson Puzzi deal. I think that it was a make weight to Brendan Rodgers, the Simpson Puzzi one, to allow us to get £7 million worth of defender out the door and reduce the wage bill. But, I mean, what's Simpson Puzzi on and how much are Celtic actually paying? So, you can understand the dismay in bringing in a player from Manchester City on loan, and I think that he'll be away back down to Manchester City come the next transfer window. If we did bring Simpson Puzzi in, why did we bring him in if we're not playing him? I don't get it either. I don't. And for him not to be included, I think he would have been included in the Champions League squad if we're in the Champions League, but not the Europa. I think that Brendan Rodgers is, when you look at the squad that has been picked, he's got to back the players that are going to be here for the full year. Do you know? And I just don't understand. For me, Simpson Puzzi will be away back down to Manchester City and as soon as he can in the next transfer window. If JPS did refuse to play for the B team, he shouldn't be sat on the bench. Unreal sort of column. Hate to say it, but we should sell Maeda if he's not happy. Mate, he's going to be sold at the next window. Dyson will be sold at the next window. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. I think that as soon as the transfer window opens, Dyson Maeda will be away. Baz, look at it this way. Kenny played 6 Europa League Conference games, scored 5 assists. Yeah, exactly. Glitch played 11 Europa League games, scored 3 assists and 8. And then you've got Shin Yamada, no Euro. Exactly, mate. I don't know why. When you look at it, it's simple. It is simple. Would you rather bring in a player with no European experience at all, or would you bring someone in that can score goals and gives you a different type of striker option? I just don't see what it just seems to be media. And then I see a headline: history will be kind to major Celtic shareholder Dermot Desmond. I did say that the Celtic PR machine will start rolling out stuff through friendly journals, and I'm not clicking on it. I'm not even giving them the click. Celtic's transfer pressure has increased, but history will be kind to Dermot Desmond, and it will be, unfortunately. And there's a poll question for you, because this will split the fans right down the middle. This quick poll question this morning. Start a poll. And it'll be an interesting, because I can understand why people say it will be. History will be kind. Because when you sit back in 20 years from now, and when you look at the titles that we've won in the last 20 to 25 years, Of course it will be kind. Of course it will be kind. Because only success is counted. Only success in any form. And when you look at trophies won over the number of years, over the last 25 years, of course it will be kind to him. Take away what you emotionally think of the man right now, and people are just going, no, fucking no. Take the emotion out of it, because voting with emotion is like voting for the Tories. And I think in 20 years, history will be kind. We lost out in the 10. That'll be a blip. We lost out in the 10, and then we went on to win the league straight after it, back to back, bum 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 bum. Of course, it will be kind, and we don't like it at the moment. I don't like the fact that in the future, history, when you look at Dermot Desmond's tenure of this time at Celtic, it will be kind to it. Remember, the fans booed. Fergus McCann on Flag Day. But nobody remembers that, really. Nobody remembers it. Everyone remembers Fergus coming in with a 5-year plan, building a stadium. Paul Bell says it's all about history, Baz, when it comes to... Yeah, it is, mate. It is all about trophies at the end of the day. You know, Fergus is remembered for building the stadium, which the current board aren't treating as good as what they should. Do you know, Fergus McCann was to the point. You could say that throughout the time of Fergus McCann's tenure, he did a lot of good things at Celtic, but he did a lot of bad things as well. He did a lot of things that fans didn't agree with. But I think in 20 years' time from now, whether 42% like it or not, Dermot Desmond will be remembered as having a successful time at Celtic. And that's always the difficulty when you're in the trenches right now. And when you have your mindset on a group of people, to remove those people. The stadium's falling apart now, no maintenance plan, it seems, which is devastating. It's simple. How many trebles has Dermot won? Says Joe Bloggs. Exactly, and that's what it'll be remembered for. That's all that'll be counted. That's all that's counted. One of the biggest club shameful days when those booed Fergus. Ian, I don't think it was. I can remember it happening. I can remember being there when it happened. And you've got to think why it happened. Allowing the manager that stopped the 10 in a row to leave the club because he didn't get on with Fergus. The Celtic fans were right to voice their anger. Wim Jansen should have went on and left a legacy at Celtic. And now he did leave a legacy. He stopped Rangers 10 in a row. That was his legacy. But he wasn't allowed to build on the legacy. And then here we go again. Going through periods of managed decline. We bring in John Barnes and Kenny Dalglish as a dream team. Managed decline, whether you like it or not. Do you know, Barnes was then sacked for Kenny Dalglish to take over the reins at Celtic and win us a trophy. When you then look what happened next, is we bring in Martin O'Neill. Does it not sound familiar? We bring in Ronnie Dyler. We have Neil Lennon in charge, successful. We bring in Ronnie Dyler, not as successful. We bring in Brendan Rodgers, successful. It's the exact same as going from Tommy Burns to Wim Jansen to a man that we shouldn't even be talking about in this day. Anyway, we would have been liquidated if Fergus didn't show up. No, we wouldn't have, Mark. We wouldn't have. But anyway, right, I'm closing that poll down. We've got 106 votes this morning. I'm not staying on far too late this morning. We have 6 votes, 106. 58% say yes. If you're watching this recording back, because this is live, tell us in the comments, do you think that history will be kind to the current board? Well, Dermot Desmond, the major shareholder. And remember, think about it with your head, not your heart, and your current emotional state and thinking of the man in question. Anyway, that's why the next night the manager will Robbie Keane. Oh, don't say that. Honestly, Celtic news wise, it is a lot of the media are talking about Kelechi and talking about the fact that he is getting physically fit and he's taking up extra training sessions to make sure that he gives his all for Brendan Rodgers and for Celtic. A lot of the media are jumping on the shambles that still is the Dyson Maeda bombshell that was dropped yesterday. And even though it was dropped yesterday by Dyson himself, I'm not diving into the comments on that one. Anyway, on that note, I'm away to get breakfast because I'm still don't worry, we always have the January window. There's a good one to leave on. On that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. And tell me in the comments as well, are you going to the game today? We've never even spoke about the game today. Are you going to the game today, the Legends game? And if so, tell me in the comment section also. We might do a live from a Celtic pub in the deep depths of Spain. On that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.